jump to the sky turns to a rider kick.
Hey everyone, I'm Colonel Guru, and today we're taking a look at the Masters of the Universe Origins He-Man. Now, ever since I was a kid, I always had a soft spot for He-Man. When I was a little kid in New York, I had a friend named Max. And one day he kept talking about He-Man when I was in school. And back then I watched shows like the Justice League and Batman the Anime series, so I knew what superheroes were. And I just thought He-Man was the dumbest name ever. And one day after school I came over to his house and he continued to talk about He-Man. And he showed me this big DVD set he had of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. And as soon as I watched that magical intro where he explains his origins and punches you in the face, I just got hooked to the show, and it was great. Now, I always wanted to collect the original Masters of the Universe figures, which I might get my hands on a few vehicles in the future, but the main figures of like He-Man, Skeletor, etc. were often really expensive and extremely hard to find on the aftermarket complete and at a reasonable price. They often go up for like $80 or something, and that's beyond my budget. And I collect a lot of old vintage toys like the original G.I. Joe toy line, or the Jurassic Park figures from the 90s, etc. But now that Mattel has announced this brand new toy line called Origins, but strangely doesn't say Origins anywhere on the packaging that I could find, we'll get to that later, I am very excited to collect this new line. But when they were first announced back in August, they were pretty much sold out everywhere at Walmart.com and were scalped like crazy on eBay. This figure I was able to pick up on eBay for a reasonable price, but most of them have been scalped. But recently I saw them at Walmart, and I'm really excited to see these shelves stocked full of these new figures, and I hope to collect and review them on my channel. I also recently got Battle Cat from the same toy line. The packaging has this beautiful retro style that looks just like the packaging from the 80s. It says Masters of the Universe He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. Modern posing, retro play. And you got this beautiful space background above the logo. New for $20. And you got these boulders exploding all around. And here we got He-Man, this bubble wrap packaging. Or is it clamshell? Yeah, it's clamshell. You got the Mattel logo. And turning it around, got this beautiful artwork of He-Man using the power sword. It says comic book included. You got Castle Grayskull in the background, and it says with the mystical power sword, the mighty He-Man protects the Eternia from the forces of evil. And looking around down there, you got some of the heroic warriors and evil villains, as well as how to put on the weapons, and shows the posability on the figure. And now that we got all this out of the way, it is time that we take a look at He-Man outside the packaging. And here we have He-Man out of the packaging, and this figure is actually pretty good. It really captures the likeness of the original toy, which was pretty goofy looking, because he got this big, bulky half, and then his legs are really small and are kind of squat in this pose, but thankfully there's a lot of articulation on this figure we'll cover later. And then here we have this head sculpt, which, while he's good, I can't help but think that he looks like he's constipated. Before I forget, here's the comic book that comes with. Apparently, this is not the original comic book that came with the original He-Man figure. It's entirely new with some new artwork. Oh, sorry. And it's actually pretty good. It's really short, fun read. He-Man kicking all kinds of ass. And it's a lot of fun that they come with these little comics. And from what I've heard, the legs on the original figures were made out of a rubber material, but luckily, this is made out of a nice strong plastic. The figure also has some really nicely sculpted in muscles on the chest and on the arms, and also on the legs. The figure also appears to have a really good paint job, but at least on my figure, but Mattel seems to have taken some shortcuts. As you can see on this red piece here, there's this piece that's unpainted right here, and when you look up from top, like this whole area is left unpainted, and it just looks really lazy, and it's kind of a letdown. Because I think these are made for both kids and collectors alike, so I think Mattel needs to step up on the paint jobs. But I also notice here that there's some red that kind of some red paint defects that are seen here. And other than that, the paint job seems okay. Oh, one thing I forgot to notice. I noticed this when I unboxed it, but there's also a paint defect on his waist belt thing. As for the hands, not interchangeable at all. It would have been nice if we included some interchangeable hands, but one, this is how the original toy looked, and two, there wouldn't have really been a place to put them since the packaging is designed to be disposable. But we have an open hand for the shield, and a hand that is made for holding either the power sword or the axe. It would have been nice, like I said, if they could hold both weapons, but it is what it is since this is a recreation of the original toy, but modernized. Now this figure comes with 3 accessories. You get an axe, a shield, which for some reason there's some scuffing on this area when I opened it up. And last but not least, you get the power sword. And what's interesting is that when you look to the other side, it looks like it's incomplete. And then the reason for that is, like the original toy, the other half comes with Skeletor and it's going to be purple or something. I can't wait to pick up that figure soon. Both the sword and the axe can be stored onto the back. Just as the packaging promised, this figure is a vintage style figure but with modern posability, and it's actually really good. It's got a good range of movement all across the body, but I wish they had some double bends at the elbows, but probably can't because of the sculpting of the muscles. And the hands also had some nice articulation on it too, but still not interchangeable. Got a nice waist swivel all across, beautiful spread, legs move out, they can bend at the knee, and they also have some swivels at the thighs and at the ankle, and there's also a really good ankle pivot that you can do on the figure. And for real quick size comparisons, here it is next to the Lightning Strike Batman, which is about the same height as an average Kenner figure to give you a sense of scale, and my previously reviewed Diva Blaster. So there you have my review on the Masters of the Universe Origins He-Man, and I think this is a really cool update on a classic figure. And I highly recommend picking this up if you're a fan of Masters of the Universe, or if you want to get your kid into Masters of the Universe. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification button. And until then, I'll see you on the flip side.